buying a home is a massive undertaking, and if you're thinking you're going to be able to do it with nothing saved in the bank or nothing to rely on, no sort of egg nest or something that you could just fall back on, you're mistaken. Make sure you have a little bit of a reserve fund available for you in the situation that something happens. Now, we bought a house and we've got the down payment, and we know that, that we're a first time home buyer and we qualify for that great 5%. But what else is involved in it? What other costs go into buying a house? Oh, no, that's it. No, that's not it. My name is Fady Khudair. I'm a local realtor here with Sudden Group Ottawa. For everything real estate related, Kanata on the Rocks is the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more and more episodes about this. So now that we've decided we want to buy a house and we have that 5% down payment, what else goes into the purchasing of a home? What other costs are involved? These are what we call closing costs. They go and they range between 1 to 5%. It depends on the market you're in. It depends on what is it exactly that you're looking for. And let me just kind of dig into it and give you a little bit more of what are these exactly. First thing that the bank wants to see is your legal fees and your land transfer fees. In Ontario, you're normally looking at about 1.5 to 2% land transfer fee. And you're probably going to look at around, I want to say about maybe $2,500 to $3,000, $4,000 as far as a lawyer's fee. Don't quote me on it, but those are some of the things that you want to look into. You want to kind of prepare yourself before. Maybe ask those questions to a lawyer, hire a lawyer, actually have a lawyer on a retainer, if you want to call it that, or have a lawyer on a standby. Hey, when I close, or when I get my file, can you be my lawyer? How much is it going to cost? Write that down. It's very important for you to budget that ahead of time. Another big one is, and we see this quite often, and it kind of boggles my mind, home inspection. When you're purchasing a home, you really want to kind of have at least a good $600 to $1,500. It depends. Maybe if you have a well and septic inspection, maybe $2,000 available. And multiple of those, because you could potentially go into multiple homes and not actually end up being successful. Maybe the septic is wrong or the inspection comes back bad. You want to have that funds available for you. So when the time comes, you're able to kind of do those inspections. A massive one that we see quite often is the deposit. Now, the deposit can actually work hand in hand. It could be the deposit as a portion of your down payment, or it could just be a deposit and the down payment is separate. Most of the time, the deposit is a part and parcel of your down payment, but just make sure you have it. Just because you're able to get that down payment in 2 or 3 months, it doesn't mean that you can just go and purchase a house now with zero down. And if anyone tells you that, it doesn't work. You really have to have a deposit when you purchase a house in Ontario. In Quebec, it's a bit different. I don't service Quebec customers. I don't intend to, but I do have clients that work with some of my counterparts in Quebec, and I can always refer you there. Another big one is mortgage insurance. Now, some banks will actually blend that into the mortgage, and you don't necessarily have to have it as an addition, but I would really recommend that you have that maybe available just in case. But there's also the mortgage life insurance, and that's something that I would highly recommend that you have, especially if you're early in the stages. God forbid something happen, you have that sort of availability to pay off that mortgage, so your spouse or your significant other is not necessarily having to put up with the burden of a mortgage on a house when you're gone. Also, very, very important to have when it comes to closing costs are moving costs. For example, if you're moving provinces, you want to have at least good, $5,000 to $10,000 for trucking and things like that could require you to move. Big one as well, too, when you're moving in, a lot of the times you might find something that's missing. Maybe they ended up taking that chandelier that wasn't actually in the offer and you didn't know. Or maybe the furnace all of a sudden decides to completely goes kaput on you and you're just completely left at the mercy of yourself. So always have a good sort of reserve fund. And I would recommend having at least a couple of months of mortgage, if not more. And also at least a couple of, maybe $10,000, $15,000 available in the case that something happens. I'll give you an example. We've had situations where my buyers walk in and all of a sudden, because the house was not lived in for a couple of months, the furnace is actually no longer working. Although at the inspection, the furnace was working fine, the inspection does not guarantee that it's going to be working fine when you move in. It's only really good for about 30 days, but when you move in, it's on you. We've talked about that obligation gets transferred to you, so it's on you. Another big one that we've seen as well too quite often is that you move in and something happens to the plumbing, or all of a sudden this house used to be a two or three people using the plumbing, but it's no longer the case, and then septic goes wrong. So you just have to be prepared. Buying a home is a massive undertaking, and if you're thinking you're going to be able to do it with nothing saved in the bank or nothing to rely on, no sort of egg nest or something that you could just fall back on, you're mistaken. Make sure you have a little bit of a reserve fund available for you in the situation that something happens. And for videos like this and for more tips about real estate, Kanata on the Rocks is the channel to be. My name is Fady Khudair. I'm a local realtor here with Sudden Group Ottawa. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe so you can get more and more episodes about real estate.